President Trump should enact amnesty the same way Reagan did, but better. What Reagan did was to enact amnesty for 3 million people who were here illegally, just the way the migrants are here without proper processing today. And that's how I see it, really, is that they simply haven't been processed through the system yet. We need them as workers. They're mostly all good people. We need them in our country, but they simply have not been processed, and they got frustrated and they came over the border without going through the proper stages of being indoctrinated and showing your papers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we can still do that. But Reagan gave amnesty to 3 million people under these exact same circumstances. Like I said, they're just not really processed yet. And so that is why he is considered such a successful president. And some people say, no, that's what I don't like about him. No, what you don't like about him is that they didn't control the border. He promised to control the border at the same time of the Amnesty Act, but they did not do that. But now President Trump has controlled the border already. It's already done. So now the Amnesty Act makes perfect sense. And I really hope that President Trump considers doing this. And one thing that I would add to it that I think President Trump should do is that the first priority, by far the first priority of citizens who we should give amnesty to under this circumstance, is that they're full-time workers. They're workers. They have a job. I mean, they are literally making this country run today, yesterday, hopefully tomorrow. They're making the country run already. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah, they're working, and we need them. It's proven that we need them because they're working full time. So I think President Trump should give a priority to people who are working full time, but as I said, have not been simply gone through the system of immigration yet in terms of the formal system and the paperwork and the ID that you have to have and that kind of thing. But it's a simple enough thing to do. And especially since they're working already and they're already paying taxes and contributing to the economy. And so it's in all of our interests to do this. But like I said, I think the work requirement is something that President Trump could add to the bill that President Reagan actually did not do. But we're just seeing endless stories of people in different working situations, whether it's farm work, of course, the hospitality industry. That's a big deal. Construction is a pretty big deal. Construction is. And so these people have a lot of jobs, and we need those jobs filled by good people, and they are good people, and they are filling those jobs. So there's no reason to mess up the whole thing with confusion about making them leave the country and then come back to the country. It's like, well, that's pretty raw. First we're going to round them up like criminals, shove them into whatever, send them to wherever, and all kinds of nonsense and pain and confusion and stupidity. And then, but y'all can come back there because we actually needed you anyway. I'm Pete Hegseth, by the way. I like to fire people and hire them back. No, don't do that. So, don't round them up like animals and send them wherever and then say, well, we need you back anyway, but blah, 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 blah. Let's do what Reagan did, the amnesty, but let's just look for papers for, are you working and contributing to the economy? Are you a criminal? Do you have bad papers or not? If someone has no bad papers whatsoever, no badness on their record in this country, and they've been here for a while, why not give them a break? And especially the people that are working full time. I mean, come on. Don't kid me. This is someone with a full-time job. They're not just supporting themselves. They're supporting a family, and they're also supporting their boss. Their boss doesn't want them fired. The boss would not have them as their worker if they wanted them fired and arrested and sent away. So this is good for the entire economy. If President Trump should enact amnesty for migrants, just like Reagan did, and full-time workers should be at the top of the line, especially, and people who are working and people who have no criminal record whatsoever. That they should all be considered, and we shouldn't have to kick them out of the country and make them come back. We've never been able to do this. We've never had a good immigration system. That's why Reagan cracked the system. He said, this system is too complicated to even try to fix with legislation. This immigration system is just so thick with bureaucracy that we'll never get anywhere with this. It's just like a complete mess. Meanwhile, if you've got people here already and they're not breaking the law and they're working and supporting the country, why not just say, well, that's good. Let's stick with that. And then make things a little better in terms of what we've been doing in the past. We can improve, certainly. So anyway, President Trump should enact amnesty for migrants just like Reagan did, and focus on work activity and productivity as priority to put them in at the top of the line. So, President Trump, I'm asking you, please think about this. You're a smart man, and I know that, even if I've not been on your side. Think about doing amnesty for migrants who are here, having not gone through proper processing. So yes, illegal, but it's not, it's not the worst crime. The crime is our government and how bad our migration system is, our immigration system is. That's the crime. That's the worst crime. So then, yes, also a crime to break the rules. But please, President Trump, please consider letting these people who have been here for 30 years, they're pillars of their community. They have all kinds of people they're helping out in their lives. Please consider letting them stay here with amnesty, just like President Reagan did, especially since what you've already done, you've already controlled the border. The border is controlled. So we've controlled the immigration just like Reagan promised to do. And then now I'm suggesting that you also add one extra thing to the proposition for legal migrants, is that you add in their work level, how much they've worked. Are they really a full-time worker in the United States of America, and we're going to treat them like a criminal because the only thing they didn't do is go through our impossible to go through immigration system? So please consider that, Mr. President. Let's all get together and not fight all the time. Okay.